This is the project on capital punishment by Peyton and Katie. Peyton did slideshow and audio, and Katie did the research. Our first argument is over for deterrence. Some of you may be asking what deterrence is, and that is a discouraging action or event by instilling fear of the consequences. If murderers are sentenced to death and executed, potential murderers will think twice before killing for fear of losing their own life. Vicious murderers must be killed to prevent them from murdering again, either in prison or in a society if they should get out, both as a deterrent and as a form of permanent incapacitation. The death penalty helps to prevent future crime as well. Our reasons to disagree for deterrence is the death penalty is not a deterrent because most people who commit murders either do not expect to be caught or do not carefully weigh the differences between the possible execution and life in prison before they do the act. When a crime is planned, the criminal ordinarily concentrates on escaping detection, arrest, and even conviction. The threat of even the severest punishment will not discourage those who expect to escape detection and arrest. Our second argument is over retribution, and these are our reasons to agree. The first, retribution is punishment inflicted on someone for committing a crime or doing something that is wrong. Only the taking of the murderer's life restores the balance and will allow society to show convincingly that the murder is intolerable crime which will be punished in kind. Retribution has its basis in religious values which have historically maintained that it is proper to take an eye for an eye and a life for a life. Our reasons to disagree for retribution are the emotional impulse for revenge is not a sufficient justification for invoking a system of capital punishment with all of its accompanying problems and risks. Encouraging our basest motives for revenge, which ends in another killing, extends the chain of violence, allowing executions and sanctions killings as a form of payback. Our third argument is innocence, and these are our reasons to agree. Imprisoning innocent people is also wrong, but we cannot empty the prisons because of that minimal risk. If improvements are needed in the system of representation or in the use of scientific evidence such as DNA testing, then those reforms should be instituted. However, the need for reform is not a reason to abolish the death penalty. If it can be shown that someone is innocent, surely a governor or somebody high up would grant clemency and spare the person. These are our reasons to disagree for innocence. The death penalty alone imposes an irreversible sentence. Once an inmate is executed, there's nothing that can be done to make amends if the mistake has been made. Since 1973, at least 88 people have been released from the death row after evidence of their innocence emerged. During that same period of time, over 650 people have been executed. Our fourth argument is arbitrariness and discrimination. Each crime is unique, both because of circumstances of each victim are different and because each defendant is different. The Supreme Court has rejected the use of statistical studies which claim racial bias as the sole reason for overturning the death sentence. These are our reasons to disagree. The death penalty is racially divisive because it appears to count white lives more valuable than black lives. Since the death penalty was reinstated in 1976, 158 black defendants have been executed for the murder of a white victim, while only 11 white defendants have been executed for the murder of a black victim. Such racial disparities have existed over the history of the death penalty and appear to be largely intraceable. Our last argument will be over price, and these are our reasons to agree. The cost of keeping someone incarcerated for the duration of their natural life is huge. This cost that society shouldn't have to pay. Violent criminals and murderers shouldn't be taking away tax dollars from things like education and healthcare. We simply cannot afford to keep those alive, nor do we have any responsibility to do so. And this is our reason to disagree against Price is each individual state must pay for these trials and executions, which the money comes from the government. That way they don't take personal taxes out from certain people, but they take it from the big budget overall. Overall, in conclusion, we agree with capital punishment. The fear of execution gives the hope that potential criminals will think twice before committing a crime. This kind of punishment allows for the victim's family to get closure by knowing that the offender cannot be hurting anyone else. I do not think our tax dollars should not be paying to keep criminals incarcerated for, but spent on things like education and cleaning our communities.